If you've watched a lot of Trade Secrets videos, you might see that I'm in a new shop. This is my new shop. It's bigger than the old one, and we had it built this year. It's brand new, and I'm just moving in. But if you stick around for a while, I'll mess it up for you, just like I did the old one. Today we're going to refret the Mike Bloomfield Telecaster. If you've been watching Trade Secrets lately, you've seen us pull the frets on this old 63 neck, clean the slots of tons of glue, and fix all the chips in it before fretting it. And today we're finally ready to fret it. This is the guitar that took me into playing blues. I heard Mike Bloomfield play it in 1963 in the fall at the Michigan Union in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where I lived. And he was with Nick Gravenites and the Mike Bloomfield Rhythm and Blues Band. My friend Jay Edwards and I from our band went and heard it, and it knocked us out. This is also the guitar that turned me on to B.B. King, because Bloomfield's up there on stage saying, man, if you dig this stuff, man, you got to listen to B.B. King, man, because like he's the greatest, man. That's how Bloomfield talked, always really excited, and he's always saying, man this and man that. Back in the days, Fender used a foot-operated cable to pull this fixture with the fret loaded into it across the board, and the fret actually broached its way into the slot. The ends were sharpened on a little machine that I've never seen, and by broaching, that means that the barbs on the tang were cutting sideways. So you couldn't pull the fret out, it was under the surface, and that kept the ends down. Leo hated ends that popped up. On my version, I'm using a drill press and a fretting caul, and I put the fret in a little bit off center. It's not quite all the way across the fretboard. I'll press it down in, then I take a punch and a hammer and tap it sideways until it locks in, and those fret ends won't pop up, just like Leo's. This is my sideways fretting contraption. I've made a number of these over the years, and this is the best one yet. In short, I have a piece of MDF board with holes in the bottom for the mounting screws of the neck. The heel goes here, peg head goes here, and this holds it down. And this is a StewMac neck rest cut short and drilled and tapped for Allen screws so I can raise and lower it. Some necks are fat and thick, some aren't. This way I'm always supporting. This fence slides in these grooves in the table, and it lets me ride my caul back and forth underneath the quill. This is a little lockdown that fits in that groove, so when I do my tap, it doesn't want to tip. Okay, I've got this here in the jig now, and I'm about ready to fret, but the fret wire needs a little prep, and my buddy Erick Coleman is going to take care of that, so we're going to tag team this job.
When choosing Fretwire for this job, there was a few things that we needed to take into consideration. First off, it's the very thin Fender round laminate style that they used during this era. Doesn't have a lot of material to take off anyway when you're doing a refret. Plus, it's already been refretted one time, at least, so the fingerboard's got some flats and some inconsistencies along it. So what we're going to do is use Stuart McDonald's 155 wire, which has a taller crown, and we're going to level out any weird inconsistencies in the fingerboard out of the frets when we do that. It's generally just a good idea not to level on a vintage board like this. You know, it can change the look of it and the feel of the guitar in general, and it's just something that we don't like to see or do. And the other thing I need to think about is the fret barbs. These slots on these old Fenders are pretty tight, so if I was to jam in a full-size piece of fret wire, it could push the neck into a back bow that couldn't be adjusted out with the truss rod. So I'm going to have to reduce the size of the barbs in order to get this fret wire to fit that neck. So I'm going down the neck with a variety of different feeler gauges just to see what fits. And this will help me determine how much of the barbs I'm going to remove off the fret wire. For that job, I like to use the fret barber. The fret barber uses feeler gauges as stops to determine how much material you're going to be taking off the barbs. The smaller the feeler gauge, the more you're going to reduce the overall size. I'm starting with a 32 thousandths gauge, and I'm working my way down at 2/1000 of an inch intervals. If you look closely, you'll notice the wire on the right has been run through the fret barber, and the wire on the left hasn't been touched. It's a very slight difference, but it makes a big difference. I've brought the barbs down to where I want them. Now I'm going to bend the fret wire to match the fretboard radius.
So we have a 6-inch radius at the end, a lot of little 9s in here. Starts to get flat right there. Those shiny spots are flats.
Yeah, you can see it's been kind of changed to about a 9 here. And as I work my way down, it starts to get tighter and tighter.
And it's really rolling off on that edge, isn't it?
Right, yep. You can see it rolling off on the edge there with the gap in the light.
Even more than the radius, so it's like a radius and then a little kick down.
So it's not quite a 7. You can see the flat spot in the middle, the light underneath it there.
I see it.
It's getting closer. So as we get close to the 19th fret, it looks like we're going to start by running in a 7 1/4. I use the fret bender to bend pieces into 7 1/4 and 9 1/2 inch radii. Yeah, that looks good.
I've got a 6-inch radius in here. I mark them because that's what you said this was, a little bit tighter than the 7.
Yep, and I bent that piece of wire to match.
Okay, let's give her a try. I'm putting these in with fish glue. It's one of my favorites for this kind of thing. I also use hide glue. This is a lot like hide glue because it dries crystalline and hard. And you can dissolve it like hide glue, and it's pretty safe. Get a little light on the subject. I'm taking most of it out with that palette knife. Gonna wipe it down, get that tape off there. That's when the fret goes in. Okay, now we're ready. Zero in on that slot. That fret wire, I took a file and sharpened to point, kind of like the originals were done. It was sharpened so when you drove it over, it cut its way. I'm a little short on this side and way long on this side. And I'm pressing it down with that to get the ends down a little bit, and then I can lock the drill press quill right there and it holds it. And I can come in with the little hold down and tighten that. This hold down is a piece of the hickory flooring on my new floor, so is that. I got a lot of it left over. So that gets the ends down. Now I'm going to come in with a different caul and get the center. There's the 12. I can see it flattening out a little bit of that hump in the center. Go back to that 6. This is a complex fret job. I'm really trying to do everything I can to keep it vintage and do a cool job. That's pretty nice. I'm going to tighten that quill down and tap this fret. Tighten it down and let it hold there while it dries. 15 minutes maybe. Situation report is good. What I've got here is a fret in. The ends are down tight. Next one down is more of a 7 1/4, I'd say, than the last one. 7 1/4, please. Okay, here we need a little flatter one, closer to a 9 1/2. It's only flat in the center.
There you go.
It's going quick now, getting the feel for it. It's feeling good. Watch the mark. Gone. That's about a 1/16 of an inch. Fretting on down the line. These are going in quite well, nice and level. I'm at the 12th fret and I've got a ways to go, and it'll take me a couple hours. I'm changing fret wires as I go, different size barbs. Even some I'm using a solid wire that didn't go through the fret barber. So let's see how it goes. That's it. The last fret, they're all in. Since you've been gone, we finished up the fret job and it came out really great. Fretboard looks old and dirty just like it started. It's got a bone nut on it and it's killer sounding. It goes out tomorrow and I'm really going to miss it. I wish Mike Bloomfield was here to play it. If he was, he'd probably play something like this. You with me, Eric?
Go for it, Pops.